on YouTube. See if they're getting the feed on YouTube. Looks good. This is good. This is very good. Now I'm going to dial in here too, man. All right, guys, if you're on YouTube and you can see us and hear us, please let us know. Why is Facebook's acting funky? I don't know why. Facebook, why are you tripping? YouTube's fine. YouTube
Start
people.
your show now, press 1.
Can you hear us,
To hear
YouTube?
important instructions, press 2. To speak to customer...
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
Good.
4,
There we go.
3, 2, 1.
Silence is not golden. Truth can't be silenced. Hey,
Blog
Truth,
Talk Radio.
can you guys hear me and my guest? Hey, guest, could you say hello?
Hello, everybody. Everybody out there.
Yes, we hear you. I can see you and hear you. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
You know it, man. Hey, guys. Tonight I got a special guest. It's somebody I've been itching to get on the show tonight. He is a comedian extraordinaire. His name is Krish Mohan. Give it up for Krish Mohan, y'all. Come on, man.
Hello. How's it going?
Raise the roof, man.
I just applauded for myself. That's where my vanity is.
I get it, man. Look, if you don't love yourself, who will, Krish?
Exactly.
It's
Got to start with you.
That's
and
right,
then
man.
Everybody else will just follow, right? It's worked for every president so far.
Oh,
It's got to work for us, right?
yeah. Oh, it's working for Trump. Trump loves Trump, man.
Trump loves Trump.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, that guy can't stop talking about himself.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Man, look, we got so much to talk about. But I want to say this off the break because I was talking to Lee today, and he was saying we need to really plug the Richmond tickets. So, guys, Krish Mohan and Lee Camp have allowed me, my unfunny ass, to join them on stage in Richmond. So, look, come out and see Krish and Lee and I make funny and make true funny in Richmond. Come on, guys.
It's December 2nd at Ponies and Pints.
That's
the
man.
tickets are available now. LeeCamp.net. They'll be available on my site and Tim's site. So, yeah, plenty of places where you can find the link.
Absolutely, man. This December 2nd, Ponies and Pints. That means you can get drunk.
Yep. And we're not promising anything, but there might be horses there. We might literally be able to get ponies there.
hey, whatever works. Whatever works.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. If a 12-year-old wants to get front row tickets and maybe pet a pony, we're not making promises, but hey, it's in the name, right?
Yeah, we're not saying you will be able to, but we're not saying you won't be able to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yo, Krish, man, I've been tweeting about this evening, man, about this guy, and I'm going to start it off and just say, I hate the fact that Richard Spencer is trending on Twitter, and it like really eats at me, and like I'm like mad at the protesters for being there because I'm like, if you weren't there, would nobody give a shit, right? Like, cause you're there. Cause like I looked at the protest people, there's no attendees, there's only protesters. And I'm like, but I understand the vantage point, like you can't let this guy go unchallenged. But Krish, man, it burns me up that more people know about him, so Richard Spencer, than know about, let's say, Jill Stein or Ajamu Baraka or so many other people who I admire. It's like, it really messes up my head, bro. What do you think, Krish?
I think it's absurd, right? I do think it's absurd that he's getting as much popularity as for a guy who, and a lot of it is like, should we be addressing nationalism, right? That's always the conversation that happens. Is I'm on the side that says no, let them out there, right? I think we should at least know what they're saying, because if we know what they're saying, then we know how to fight it. Then we know how to counter what they're saying, because some of the things he said is ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, the people that invented irrigation in Egypt, those were the white people in Egypt. It's like, what geography lesson did you take? Right? It's like, what anthropology class did you end up taking? You know, so at least if we know what they're saying, you can counter it, right? And I think if you are there to protest, you should be there to do that. I think you should jump into the lecture and you should ask him questions that challenge that worldview, that challenge the idea of a whites-only nation. What good does that do? You know, like, it doesn't do you any good. The foundations of this country, whether or not this country has lived up to it, has been to take in people from other countries, right? I mean, that's essentially what this country was built on.
Absolutely.
Everybody, the founding fathers were basically like English rejects, you know, and that those were the people. The people in England were like, you guys should do your own thing somewhere else, you know. So, if the foundation of the country is built on come and be diverse, come and be different, then this being the place where you want to create your own whites only country this is not the place to do it. And neither is Canada, you know. That's also not a place to do it.
There you go.
You can't go to the UK. Where are you going to go? Sweden? Because I don't think they want you there, because they're far more progressive than most of the countries on the planet is. So, you know, where do you go? And then it kind of, you can at least address the point that now we have to land on, okay, well, how do you live with the diversity around you, you know? And the argument really winds up being, you can't stop progress, but people like Richard Spencer can delay it.
Yeah.
And that's essentially it.
Yeah, and they can make us all feel really sad and bad inside because they exist, you know. Maybe they could go to, like, Norway. Like, for some reason, I don't think there are a lot of black people hanging out in Norway. Not a lot of brown people in Norway. I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's a small percentage of, it's like 1% of black and brown people in Norway.
You know, whoever those guys were in the first Die Hard or the second Die Hard or whatever that were with Bruce Willis, whoever those guys were, because I remember some of them, they look like they come from a place where there's nobody with any pigmentation at all. Yeah,
which also goes to show, like, well, how can you hate something that you've never experienced, right? And to me, Richard Spencer aside, let's call them the ground level, you know, nationalists. How do you hate something you've never met before? You know, so it is on guys like you and me, at least, and it's dangerous. I will agree it's dangerous, but at least it's worth the try to be like, hey, have you met, like, a black person or a brown person before? Like, dude, or are you just getting?
Yeah, I'm sure Richard Spencer's met some blacks. He's met the blacks. He just doesn't care for the blacks or the browns.
I don't think we're financially profitable to him.
That's what it is. You know what? On another side of things, just for like shits and giggles, man. Like, if there were no black people in America, then white people would be on the bottom. So that probably wouldn't be a way they want things to be anyway, because somebody's got to be on the bottom. And it seems like, you know, they decided somewhere long ago that would be black people. And if it was just a bunch of Richard Spencer guys, and some Richard Spencer guys got to be on the bottom. You know?
Right. If it wasn't for black and brown people, then we would be attacking poor white people. Right. And, like, who would poor white people be attacking? You have nobody. You know, like,
killing each other off. And you know what? That's the thing. Like, you know, like, we're getting really serious on this, but truthfully, man, that's what I believe, like, all of this is about. It's just about rich people saying, how can we make the people that we're robbing, poor white people, feel better about being robbed? Oh, I know. Let's bring in some other people that we can say are beneath them, and then they won't even notice that we got our hands in their pockets. Right.
Yeah. Let's make it about. And I'm not saying that racism isn't a problem. It's very much a real problem, right? Sexism is a very real problem, but it all boils down to, how can we see past that? And if you can see that you're being manipulated for what? Unfettered capital gains. It's essentially what you're being manipulated for, and you're being forced to hate somebody that you don't even know. You haven't even met these people, that you're unwilling to see them on an individual basis, just so somebody else can, you know, take your emotions, manipulate them to make money off of you. We're never going to get to see past racism. We're never going to see past, you know, sexism or any of these identity politics that we keep arguing over. And if we're really going to see that, then there has to be a way to communicate to these people, hey, this is what's happening. right? Is these guys up at the top, they have your money. The immigrants coming in here, they don't have any money to begin with. It's like, so why would you assume that they don't want your money? They want to make their own money. That's the whole point of them being here. It's like black people don't want to steal your money. What? Nah. That's most of us don't.
Most black people steal from black people. By the way, right. Most white people steal from white people. Most Indian people steal from Indian people. Most Asians steal from Asians. You don't drive across town to pick out the opposite team to try to steal from them. You just go where it's easiest.
Stay in your neighborhood.
That's it. Nothing like a homegrown stealing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You know how expensive gas is. Even the common pickpocket has been reduced to a bicycle at this point.
Basically,
you can't go to the rich neighborhoods on your bicycle. That's 2 bus rides away at minimum. Yeah,
right. Going to the white neighborhood to get you locked up too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Hey, look, just so people know, we're talking about Richard Spencer and him being at the University of Florida. And Chris, did you know that they spent almost $500,000 in security cost to bring this asshole to the university, man? Did you hear this?
Yeah. I like the amount of. I also think it's very comical that in order to get that security, what's his name, Rick Scott, is that the governor of Florida had to make it a state of emergency, right? Like one white nationalist shows up to a university and it's a state of emergency. Puerto Rico, most of that country does not have water or electricity. That's where we'll give them a loan. It's like, what? Where are your priorities at?
Yeah.
I look at something like that you're spending an astronomical amount of money on security that realistically didn't end up being needed.
Right.
It's not the same case as Berkeley, and part of it is I think part of it is that most of the people that are on the left that are on the side of protesting things like this are no longer. Most of them, I won't say all of them, are no longer really on that train of let's go there and burn it all down.
Oh, literally punch a Nazi? They're not on the punch a Nazi stuff anymore?
Right. Okay. Because I think it's like that's proved that's not getting rid of that ideology. You're just hitting people at this point. But not to say that there aren't people that are on that side that are still on that train, because I know enough of them. I'm friends with enough people that get on my case because I don't want to punch a Nazi, but I don't think it solves the ideology. But I think a lot more people are seeing the value in peaceful protests and are seeing the value in coming out and articulating what they need to say, articulating why you're against this ideology, right? And calling it a state of emergency when that's essentially what's happening that creates more hysteria and panic towards people on the left, towards protesters who already don't have a good name. Mainstream media doesn't paint protesters in a good light. On top of that, it's a ridiculous amount of money spent on one person when literally an entire country is drowning and doesn't have water or electricity to go on. And the claim that we have made and have put forward in mainstream media is, Puerto Rico is really doing some damage to our budget. And this guy isn't? You know?
Yeah, and obviously it's a big difference in money, but it's the principle. The principle is that, this is one guy, and they sued, they threatened to sue the school if he wasn't allowed to come there and do his thing. So that's the only reason why he's there. It's like he's forcing the university to make people have to listen to him.
Yeah, and it's almost, he's almost a sensationalist novelty at this point, you know? He doesn't stand, it doesn't seem like he stands for legitimate, nationalistic values. Whatever those values truly are, I don't think he stands for them. I don't think he stands for America first principles. I don't think he believes that, white people are truly superior than brown people and black people.
Yeah.
I think he's looking to make some money And what's a great way to make some money other than to say some sensational shit and have a bunch of people get angry and still buy tickets to come see you at a university, right? You're still getting paid by the university to come talk and put your bullshit out there, you know? If somebody didn't like my comedy, if somebody didn't like the fact that I go up there and talk about not going to war, right? But you still came out to sit there and say that we disagree with you as a comedian. we believe that we should go to war. It's like, yeah, but you just paid me. You just got me paid. But your presence just got me paid, even though you disagree with me. So what was your point of all this, right? But if you come in and challenge me, then we made something. Then this is worth something to both sides. I'm still getting paid, by the way, but at least you challenged my belief and made me think a little bit differently. If that's the goal of these protesters, then by all means keep protesting what you want. But, you know, everything surrounding it seems more absurd than Richard Spencer himself, you know, the sensationalist idea that he's become.
Yeah, man. You know, you bring up a good point. You know, he's getting paid for everybody that came in to see him, to heckle him. And that's probably not the way to go. I mean, like I say, there's a double-edged sword, you know. But I'll tell you this, Chris, I kind of like them saying F you, Spencer. I kind of like the chant of F you, Spencer over and over.
It's catchy, isn't it?
Yeah, I got into it, man.
It's got a ring to it. Yeah.
It was on point. But, yeah, I get your point. Like, you know, let that die down after a while and then ask him to defend his arguments.
I think that's really what needs to be that when you start asking those questions, watching them spin their wheels, because there's been a couple interviews where they've let him talk, right? and it's always one of those things is like, you let a guy like that talk long enough, he's going to say some shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to say some things that you're like, oh, here, well, this is something for me where did this idea come from? Right?
Right.
And and a bunch of those times he's like, they're not really going to have an answer. If you really ask Richard Spencer, where do your core values come from? I don't think he'll be able to come up with a legitimate answer. I think he'll try to spin his wheels and, you know, play to the base just so he doesn't lose more money, just so he doesn't end up pissing off the people that are already really mad. Like, the people on his side are just really angry and really scared of being irrelevant in a changing world. And you're going to piss those people off after you've already got them on your side? You're teeter-tottering on a really dangerous position, all for what? All because you can use that to make more money, and and it's just absurd that that's where your life is. You know, the last 8 months of your life has been that.
You know, as we were having this discussion, I was thinking back how when someone would call me, you know, a nigger, it would really upset me, man. Like I remember back in the day, it would really get me pissed off. I remember someone on a train in Maryland, we were on a train, and this guy, he called me the N-word, he called me a nigger, and I pushed him off the train. He fell down, and he was still, you nigger? He's holding his pencil in the air, you nigger. And he was obviously, you know, like mentally, like after I pushed him, I realized this guy ain't all there, Chris. Like, you know, something ain't, the wires aren't touching, you know, somebody slept with their cousin or something, right?
Yeah.
And bro, but like now that, I don't know, I think since I've been on YouTube and I've been called the N-word so often, I'm like almost numb to it. It's like, but see, I don't want to discredit black folks who still get pissed, because I used to be them. Right. You know, I used to be like that. What? You know, what? You said what? You know, but now I'm like, oh, for real? All right. Okay, what else you got, motherfucker? You know, like things have changed.
After a while, it's like, what are these words? You know, how many times are racists and bigots going to use the N-word against black people? You know, after a while, it loses its flavor.
Forever.
You know?
Forever, Chris. Forever.
Forever, yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. They're not going to stop. They made a commitment, damn it.
Right. We're not quitters. We're just racist, you know?
Yeah, right. I made a video about that ridiculous speech that he did after the election, about Richard Spencer and what he was saying. And I watched the video that was out, and I read a few of the articles. that were coming out that quoted him exactly what he was saying, and some of it was, you know, they were too juxtapositional, where it's like, I don't know how you're going to pull that off, like a non-violent ethnic cleansing. What does that even mean? That you can't use the word cleansing and make it non-violent. That means you're getting what? That just say deporting. Are you trying to deport people? You know, so it's all this confusing sort of rhetoric. So I did a video where I talked about it, and man, the hate that came out of all of that is, it was the most thumbs down a video that I've done has ever gotten.
yeah, man. The internet is full of alt-right, neo something, nationalist. I don't know. When did it happen, Chris, that the internet just got taken over, man?
I think it became like troll culture became so popular, right? Where it became the fact that no one's looking at each other. There's not a person on the other end. You know, so let's just say we can get away with anything. It's carte blanche, right? So we don't need to use tact or respect in any way. So like, to hell with it. Let's just throw caution to the wind and just start saying the most vile, like, awful shit that we can possibly think of. And that like, the comment section in that video is some entertainment.
I can imagine.
And me being me, the sort of eternal optimist, where I was like, if I believe that, you know, I have to try to start an open dialogue, and that's what we can do to drive change, I'm going to start an open dialogue with some YouTube commenters, which is a bad idea, right? Like,
right.
Not a week will go by that my girlfriend will be like, don't engage the trolls, but just don't do it. Just let it go. And I opened this can of worms where, I was living in DC at the time, and I went to this open mic, and I'm just like, I couldn't fathom the level of hate. Like, I faced some hatred in my life before, but this was, I'm getting like 5 or 6 comments in an hour. And I was like, this is a level of hatred I've not faced before. Like, this is, you guys are a math problem of hatred. You know? Like, I can statistically come out with how much hatred is being put out per hour and the gallon or whatever. And I was talking to, you know, just a comic, and they were like, well, why are you trying to have a conversation with them? And my thing was, I just want to know if there's anything valid behind what they're saying. That's all I want to know. Is it coming from a place of, let me just poke the bear, let me just take your sacred belief system and poke holes in it for fun? Or is this coming from a true place of hate and misunderstanding, and maybe I can introduce something that you haven't thought of before, you know?
Right.
But after a while, it just became, you know, 2 days in, I was just like, my hands are, I'm done. I can't pay attention to any more comments. You know, my phone goes off. I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Right.
What are you gonna, you know?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Cut the notifications off. That shit's crazy, man.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
man. I've been there, bro. Like, you know, I do a video on Tamir Rice or Eric Garner, someone who I feel was wrongly murdered by the state, and you get people, that's what you get, you know, like, yeah, that's right. You know, if he would have just like not played at the park with a toy gun, he'd been all right. That's what he gets. Threatening people with the toy.
How
you know,
like a
it's
child.
a toy gun. You pointed at stuff. That's what all kids do. But see, the thing with Richard Spencer that's so dangerous is that he creates these new terminologies, Chris, that really water down what his message is. Like, he calls himself not a white nationalist or a white supremacist, but an identitarian. Like, I just love my identity. You know,
you gotta
like,
love that, don't you?
What's that?
You gotta love that, don't you?
Yeah.
Identitarian. What loophole are you saying? Whatever loophole you want to take for your hateful ideology, your ideology is still based on hate. You can put whatever covering around it, is the core of that is just hate, is what you're preaching, you know? So you can call yourself an identitarian or an alt-right or, you know, whatever you want to call yourself. But if the core principles of what you believe in and that article that you said was fascinating. Is the guy that books Richard Spencer just says that, oh, everybody's an identitarian. We're all identitarians to some degree. But if you live in a global world, you're not.
Right.
We're way too connected with too many other things for us to just be identitarian to the fact that I'm an Indian person and I only hang out with other Indian people. That's not it at all. Like, I grew up in a very very like Indian community in America, and basically what happened was it's like this was a good place with decent rent and nice apartments, and one person told another person, and it kind of spread around, and a majority of the tenants ended up being Indian people. But it's and that's where I grew up when I first moved to the country. But it's not like that's the only thing that I wanted to stick to. I wanted to go out and meet other people and bring in different perspectives. And that's what we did. Is when we would be at the playground, it would be like 20, 30 kids. Mm-hmm. Of 6 of us were Indian, 5 of us were white, 3 of us were black, 6 of them were women, or whatever it might have been. But that's what it is. But that's the state of the country. The state of the country is not identitarian. The state of the country is just a total mixed bag, and we all got to figure out how to work with each other, And once you start refusing to work with each other and sit there and say, I'm only going to work with people that look like me, then everybody's like, come on, buddy. Can you just be a little bit less stubborn, and we can literally cure 8 diseases. Like, if you can just be a little less stubborn,
just leave the earth. Right.
Yeah. It's like, can you just let it go for like a minute? Because there's 8 diseases, and you have the information we need to just cure it. Can you just not be a dick for 5 minutes?
Just open you up and find out what they are.
Man, yeah.
What that writer, well, not the writer, but whoever that guy was in the article, I forget his name. The guy
Chuck something or the other, right?
Yeah, Chuck.
Yeah, I think I have it pulled up.
Yeah, but Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron Paget. Yep.
Paddock. But anyway, whoever this guy is, Chris just named him. Yeah. But I'll say this: he's using like something that's natural amongst human beings. So say I'm put into a room. I'm sorry, a room of people, and I don't know anybody there, and I was blindfolded. I'm put into a room for whatever reason. Hell, man, let's make it the MVA. You're in the MVA, and it's a long ass line,
right?
And it's moving so slow. It's like you got to talk to somebody, and. Right. I may see a black guy over there, and he gets a point in the column because maybe we have shared experiences because he looks black and I'm black. But there also may be a guy that's from D.C. And, when I meet the guy from D.C., whether he's white, Indian, or Asian, he also gets a check mark in the column because we grew up in the same proximity.
Right.
So we have cultural things that I may not have in common with the black guy who may be from, I don't know, Nantucket or some shit. Just because he's black doesn't mean he relates to me. He could have grew up like the Prince of Bel-Air, like Carlton Banks. I don't know. This is natural, but the way he made it seem is like, because when we look at a group and we're putting that middle of those people, the sea of people that we kind of instinctively attach ourselves to what looks familiar, he made that seem like we're all racist, and that's not what it is at all. Women will do the same thing. It doesn't do with race. If you put 2 women, regardless of color, in a room full of guys, they're looking at each other like, we need to get the hell out of here.
Right.
Like, I don't know about these guys, like, they kill more women than anything else. Guys kill women, so like they're probably would, partner up and do a Thelma and Louise.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with race, but so like he's trying to use what was natural, what's in all of us. But
it's
like
that nature argument, right?
There you go.
Yeah, it's that nature argument that gets thrown out all the time. But isn't that evolution? Haven't we gone? The fact that we're having this conversation from 2 different cities proves the fact that we are not like the animals. So you can't really use the nature argument for everything. There are certain things that you can use the nature argument for, but in the case of race and gender, I think we've kind of evolved past the nature argument, where my argument is look, we got to embrace these differences. You know, whatever it might be, is if you're black, brown, from Nantucket, China, whatever it is, everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different cultural associations and all this other stuff. Is like, why is that seen as a weakness in society? I've never completely understood, you know, and looking at something as, oh, I'm going to call myself an identitarian or alt-right or any of this, that's surface level shit. That's you stopping literally at the skin color, literally at your skin, when there is so much more going on underneath. And but we're kind of programmed to not think past the surface, right? We're kind of programmed to just be like, well, this is how it is up top, you know? So whenever you kind of see problems like that, and this is why, and I don't know if you get this, but I get this, is like when I've for a while stopped trying to be like, oh, this is all about race, you know? Oh, this issue is about race. Because people were like, why everything is not about race? And they were right. I was doing it too much. But now it's like I have to get to that point where 2 or 3 steps in, you go, wait a second, this kind of seems like this is about race. This kind of seems like systemic racism, right? But stopping right at the surface means that most of us don't have to look past that. So if you want to look at like stuff like schools and things like that, is the notion that we're spending what $500 million on a white person coming to speak at a college versus thousands of brown people on an island that don't have clean water or electricity. What are we going to spend our money on? Awesome. We turned climate change into a race issue. That's great. I'm glad we fucking layered this problem on top of each other, is basically what we did right there. Right? like we took one awful issue and then we just put another one right on top of it, and we're like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do as a society.
I mean, like you bring up a good situation to compare. Just looking at Puerto Rico, like I had Chelsea Lyons on the show a couple of days ago. She was actually in Puerto Rico, and like she was telling me everything that you mentioned earlier. You know, like I think she said 85% of people don't have electricity. A large percentage of those people will never have it again in that location. Like their grid was so fucked that it's like, that's it. You know, if you want electricity here, you need to move to another city. Like it was that bad to begin with. I had no idea, Chris.
Right. That same here. I kind of found out about how Puerto Rico was just in bankruptcy, and the government wasn't doing all that great because of all the debts and loans that they had taken out. And now, to me, what this seems like is, I know Elon Musk has talked about sending aid and helping Puerto Rico out with those solar batteries that he has.
Wow.
Which to me that's the silver lining, right? I mean, that grid is totaled, and if it can't come back up, great, blank slate. Let's send solar down there, and Puerto Rico can become the proof of concept that we need to invest in solar. You know?
Oh, snap, man. Look, give it up for that, man.
Right.
Give it up for that, bro. I had not heard that. You guys...
There was a report that Elon Musk wanted to send solar, which who knows what legal twisting that they're going to do to prevent that from happening or delay that from happening. But to me, it's okay. That's the other part of it is, that's what it's going to take for us to try something completely new. Is we're at a point in society where the only way we can try something completely new and different is, let's destroy all of it to a point where it can't come back. Wow. It's like, why are we there?
God damn.
That can't be
that is horrific and true. You know, that is so sad, man. You're right, though. That's the only way you can get to that point is...
Yeah.
God.
But it's not. I think it works for this, and it becomes a proof of concept that maybe solar would work, right? Or it doesn't. We don't know, but we got to try it. But I don't think it's a sustainable model for us to adopt, to be like, you know, when we should try something new is when we have completely destroyed this system to the point of no recovery. It's like,
Right.
wait a second. Let's not do that. So many more people are going to die if you do that. And so much more money and resources are being wasted. It's again, it's like, to me, is how do we get away from that thinking? Is how do we get away from the thinking of let's destroy everything to try, you know, like everybody understands that a phoenix is a mythical creature, right? Like our society can't be a phoenix.
Right. Rising from the ashes thing, right.
Yeah, like at a certain point, once you destroy everything, some things are just going to stay destroyed. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, some of those species aren't going to come back, man. We're losing animals all over the place, man. It's like, it's crazy, man. And people don't talk about it. I mean, it's not something I would naturally think about. It's just kind of like what I do now makes me read a lot of stuff. So it's kind of the, you know, the upside and downside is you find out a lot of sad shit when you read. You know, that's not on Walking Dead or Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's actually in books.
You know? Yeah, I've been that's one of the things that, like, I have been addressing just the nature of war, and it has been very challenging to make just why we go to war funny, because it's such a depressing reason. The need to go out there and destroy things, the need to go out there and fight for this cause, right? And tying this back into nationalism, that's really what war is driven by, a nationalistic agenda. It's driven by this patriotic agenda. But, like, man, is it depressing to think about when you're like, you love this country so much that you're willing to destroy another one?
Wow.
That doesn't seem healthy. I have been in enough real shitty relationships to know that is a bad idea.
Right.
That's going to lead, like, somebody is going to be broke and, like, destitute.
Living on their mama's couch, right.
Yes, yeah, right? And it's like some of these countries can't go back to their mother's couch because they literally burnt down their mother's couch.
There you go. There you go. That's another good one, man. Ain't no damn couch. Yeah, I want to get back to Richard Spencer, man, because I want to make sure that people know, like, I don't see an equivalent to this shit, all right? Like, if you're watching my channel and you're like, oh, Tim Black, but the left does this, like what? Like, what do they do that's like this? Like people, don't get me wrong, I understand, I you know, political correctness, guys. Like, I'm trying to be like Chris. I want to be a comedian one day, you know? So, like, I'm not all in for political correctness. I feel like, you know, you should be able to say what you want, but you might have to suffer repercussions. It's part of the job. But, like, there is no left equivalent to Richard Spencer talking about people shouldn't be in the country because of their skin color, or that people have low IQs because of their skin color, or people are mud people. Like, that type of, there is no equivalent. And I'm tired of people who want to kumbaya, who want to water that down. He does not like black or brown people.
Right.
He thinks they are beneath him. He wants them out of his fucking country. You understand? He doesn't say it like that, and he shaves his face, so you think he's a nice guy. Oh, he just has a different opinion. Well, if somebody was talking about getting you out of the country and that you had no value, that you were less, you were subhuman, maybe you then would be like, oh shit. And if you had a history of being treated as subhuman, gotta add that, because it's not just words to black and brown people when you've been treated that way in this country. So, like, I'm tired of people doing false equivalencies, and I just want to let it be known, is like, when I posted a video of Richard Spencer on my Facebook and I shamed his ass today, I lost 50 people immediately. And I knew it. I knew immediately when that happened, Chris, that damn it, I need to lose at least 50 more, because the rest of these sons of bitches need to get off my page, because I'm sure there's some other white supremacists who weren't on my Facebook page at the time who didn't see my post because they have slow smartphones. They need to like charge their smartphones, get my post, and realize Tim Black don't play that shit, and then get off my page. Get the fuck.
I think there's a people need to be able to accept that we're not going to agree all the time, right? And I think disagreement is good. It's healthy. And to that point is, yeah, I don't know if there is anything to the level of I don't want black and brown people in my country on the left. Maybe the only thing I can think of is the small group of people that I have met that have made the claim, oh, if you're white, you don't have an opinion kind of thing.
Oh.
But
that's a good point, though, because some people make that bigger than how big a group. Like, who are these people telling other people to shut up because of their skin color? I don't agree with that at all.
Right, but how many of those people on the left are getting that big of a platform as Richard Spencer? I think that is the problem. The problem is if we're going to even the playing field, we got to take somebody from the left that says that, well, if you're white and you want to be in a multicultural, diverse group, then you don't get to have an opinion, and see where that goes.
Right.
What's the protest going to look like in Gainesville at that point? Is there going to be a protest? Are we going to call a state of emergency for that? Because there's going to be some pissed off people from the other side that are going to show up and protest that. But the difference is, yes, there's probably people on that side that say that white people don't have an opinion and shouldn't be talking about issues like racism or sexism or anything like that. But how many of them have the platform that Richard Spencer does? How many of them are on CNN or Al Jazeera or talking to Charles Barkley, right? Yeah. I don't see a whole lot of them on that doing that.
I can tell you this is very few, because like even though I don't have that type of I don't speak that type of rhetoric, but I can tell you this: it took me 5 years to build this little shitty platform, and people have tried to destroy it, and those people typically aren't brown people. It's usually some other people who do their thing trying to get rid of it. But I will say this though, Chris, only time I ever question white folks speaking on a certain issue, like if it's something like if you have a black question, ask a black person, especially if it's something that has to do culturally, that unique experience will shed different light on the subject matter. That's all. But no, like if it's generally speaking, I can't imagine saying like, "What are you doing talking?" You can't have an opinion. Yeah, you can. And then we can have a conversation. But once I tell you what my situation is, don't try to talk me out of it. No, Tim, you can't. You're not seeing it right. He would have pulled you over if you were a white guy too. You're like, nah, he really wouldn't, because I have a car with tags and I wasn't speeding. So we go through these things, but it's more of an education. I don't know, dude. I'm not trying to be kumbaya on it to the full degree, because
but you can be educational on it.
Yeah, I try, man. I try.
Yeah,
but it is a problem. There are people who think we're post-racial. It's a problem, bro. Chris, what have been your experiences as an Indian American or what? I don't know what you call yourself. What's been your, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not trying to, what's up, bro?
I just say Indian. Okay. I was born in India, but my as of late, it's been, why aren't you more talking? Well, my entire career has been, why aren't you talking more about India, right? Why aren't you more talking about being Indian? But that's a small part of who I am, and trying to look at the bigger scope is, no, I've always been a person that's been more politically minded and thinking about the issues. And, to the point where in college, I got very depressed when I was doing comedy, and I got super depressed. And I was just like, well, comedy can't change anything. Oh. Well, that's because I didn't know how to do what Bill Hicks and George Carlin were doing, because I was an overly emotional 19-year-old. It's like overly emotional 19-year-olds are probably not going to be able to take on the military-industrial complex in a tactful and funny way.
Really? Shit.
Right? Yeah, that's at least an overly emotional 21-year-old can maybe do that. But everybody has been wanting me to fit into the box of being Indian. Right? But that's what people want. People want from you, right? Is oh, Tim, you're a black guy, but you don't sound like a black guy. It's like, what are you talking about?
Now, I
And
do
none of-
sound like a black guy though, so
Right.
like I never get that shit, you know. But
Yeah.
but Chris, it took me years to get back to sounding like this because I worked in a white collar environment for a while, and I had to deprogram Chris, like really, like.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I really sound? Because I don't even remember how that shit sound. Like, what? I could say what I want, you know. Like I don't have to be fake and be
Yeah.
like, "Good morning, ma'am," or "How you doing, sir?" I don't have to do that shit anymore. I could
You don't
just
have
be
to put
me.
the act on anymore.
Oh
Yeah.
man, like
Right.
look, no, like real. First of all, like your story, man, very, very important story, which you were just explaining. I didn't mean to cut you off, but my daughter, she's
no.
25, bro, so I'm old as shit, and my daughter. She moved back home and she smokes weed. And she was like, Dad, you want to smoke some weed? And I hadn't smoked weed since I was like 22. And then I realized, oh shit, I work for myself. I can smoke weed if I want to.
Right.
Roll me a
Right.
blunt, baby. Fuck it, let's go. You know, because I am an adult, and yeah, but it's like getting back to who you are. Like you are, like who are you? You change. Put on your comedian note, bro. George Carlin wasn't George Carlin at 19, and hell, I remember
Bill
he was
Hicks
just
wasn't.
trying to be a straight laced comedian, and
Yeah.
then he became George Carlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
There's a special called Playing with Your Head, right? I love watching that special because there's almost no politics in it. There's a little bit, but but you really got to look for it, right? Like if you don't know George Carlin and that's the first special I played for you, you would not think that he is a socially conscious or issue driven or he's going to talk about philosophy at all, because he doesn't. He talks a lot about language and the way that we go about doing things, right? Like he talks about like mundane little social norms that we have, but neither was Hicks. I have an album from Hicks from like 1985 or something. I think he's like 21, and he opens by making fun of his name, like. Which is incredible, right? Like Bill Hicks just making fun of his name. What? This is a guy that spent 25 minutes attacking the Gulf War and talking about, the FBI shot first, like what? But that's where they all come from. And I'm not saying that I didn't do the Indian stuff. I did for a while, but once I kind of grew out of that and wanted to talk about more stuff, I got to a point where, I felt like putting on that "hello, how you doing" kind of like white guy voice of like I'm playing a character that's not me, and I don't feel genuine, and I hated it. I hated going to shows because I knew I would throw myself into doing that, and then I just stopped because my race does not have to do with everything that I am. Right, being Indian is one part of who I am as a person, but there's so many more other things to it. But people like Richard Spencer don't want to see that. People like Richard Spencer want to push this agenda that the color of your skin and the border that you cross defines everything about you, which is a simplistic way of going about doing things. And if you are not going to educate yourself, then yeah, of course you're going to think that way. Of course you're going to think that way. You're not going to think anything past the surface. And it sucks.
Yeah,
it becomes
does.
Guys like us have to try to educate these people in whatever platform we can. And maybe our message will get through, right? Like, there's no guarantee that it will, but fingers crossed. Maybe
people amplify what they hate more than they amplify what they love, man. It's a shame, but it's human nature,
Yeah.
You're
Right
going to hear
now,
the boos more than the cheers, man. That's just what's up, man. In fact, someone told me like 3 years ago, they was like, Tim, you could be really big, but not enough people hate you. You're too nice. Like, people like you. Like, even if they disagree with you, they still like you. Like, people gotta hate you. You gotta get some haters, bruh. Get your hate up, bruh. And I was like, man, I don't wanna make people hate me just to hate me. Like, that sucks.
I want to hang out,
Yeah, like why I gotta make people not like, that I don't know, man. But
hate means that if you hate me, I don't think you want to grab a beer with me and talk about how we disagree with each other. Right?
There you go. There you go. God damn it.
That's the difference for me is I've had people come to my shows that have disagreed with me, that look at me and say, well, hey, your thoughts on gun control don't seem to be very they're
American.
Okay.
Patriotic.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's it? Yeah, it's like if you're going to talk about both sides, why not talk about that? And we'll sit there and have a discussion about it because you don't hate me, but like I did with a gentleman in Huntsville, Alabama, that got kicked out of the venue literally 2 minutes before I was wrapping up my show. That says I'm not funny, and he's going to shoot me with the AR-15 that he has in my car. That is a man I can't have a conversation with because you hate me. You hate me to the point where you are trying to go and get your AR-15 out of your vehicle in a bar that bans guns. Like, that's where your hatred has taken you. I can't talk to you right now because you have to step away from that hatred. You have to step away from it a little bit to say, okay, I don't like you, but let's find out why.
Yeah, Lee, we won't be doing Huntsville, Alabama, please. Fuck that. Philly is cool. We can try Richmond, but no Huntsville, Alabama. God damn.
I actually recorded my album in Huntsville.
God. We've been going for quite a while. I do want to add this, though, Chris, man. Bro, one of the things that really pisses me off about Richard Spencer, because I've met racist people, really racist people. Mm-hmm. He seems like an act to me. Like, and I know I've said everything tonight I've said about him, but I've seen him, like I've looked in the eyes of hate and like he doesn't have the eyes aren't they're not beady enough. There's something, there's no sweat off the lip.
Missing.
Yeah, something's like he's almost like if I corner this punk ass and be like, what's up? He'd be like, man, I was just, man, it's nothing, no real problem, man. It's just to get the money, I gotta make money. I feel that. Do you get any of that at all?
Yes. I've had numerous discussions with a lot of my friends about this because I hang out with weird people and other comics that talk about politics on stage and stuff. And a friend of mine from Chicago and I were having this argument. I don't believe Richard Spencer truly believes in that ideology. I think he's manipulating people that truly believe in that ideology to continue making money off of it. I think he's in the Milo Yiannopoulos camp where he is a walking troll that is trying to capitalize on other people's emotions. And that's what I think he's doing. I have a friend in Chicago that disagrees with me and says that Richard Spencer does have, but the type of racism that Richard Spencer has is like the suburban kind of racism, the white picket fence kind of racism, where as long as I'm behind the white picket fence, I'm going to wave at the black guy in my neighborhood. The second I'm out, I'm suspicious of you because you're in my territory and I don't like it. That's what my friend believes. I think it's more for capitalistic gains. I think he's trying to make money off of other people's fear, other people's hatred, and other people's emotions. Yeah, which in my opinion, makes him worse.
Because he can't really be, it's not a question of him being educated. He's educated. He just doesn't give a shit. Yeah. Not unlike D. Ray McKeeson and some of the others who seem to profit on the left. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like, it's not the same thing. But it's not. I don't want people to think that I don't know that other people do some money grabs and kind of do the same thing. Like, oh, did somebody black get hurt? Oh, great. Let's do this.
Let's jump right.
Let's gin this shit up, man. We gonna make money for months off this, man.
Are we gonna actually? DNC, like the DNC will come out and be like, "Oh, we stand for this minority group." And it's like, do you? Because your record shows otherwise. Like,
are you gonna pass any policies to help those black lives that you say matter? No. Okay, thanks a lot. We're the same bot. We're the same spot, but you got more money and you get to tour the country speaking this.
Right. And here's the appreciation that I have for true racists, right? At least they're honest about their hate. right? That guy in Huntsville, Alabama is honest about his hate. Richard Spencer is not. and that's infuriating because you are manipulating people that are a silver lining to those horrible people is with their horrible ideologies is, damn it, at least they're honest about it. Right? Like, at least they're not hiding that hate, you know? Burning a cross outside in the middle of a field, that is as loud as your honesty can get about hatred. And you got to appreciate that level of, it's like that, great. At least I know where you stand on your hatred.
You know, a lot of people
That's
say that,
good.
you know, at least I know where they stand. And I agree with that, man. It's like they, I don't know, man. If you got to live on a campus and you got these assholes coming in, they riling up your once quiet white nationalists on campus, it could raise some problems, you know, which is something that I've been alerted to that I hadn't experienced. My son goes to a black school and he doesn't have that type of problem. I mean, if, you know, that there's no opportunity for that. I don't know if you've experienced that, but I heard that the temperature around the campus raises after these types of events and the tension.
Yeah, the tension. Yeah, because I think it becomes so fresh, and then people kind of get their emotions hooked into it. And once you get people's emotions hooked into it, and people are making their decisions out of that, you know, things do get volatile. I mean, that's how you get people rioting at the end of the day. Is somebody's emotions got wrangled into a decision they were going to make, and that's essentially what these guys are doing, right? Guys like Milo and Richard Spencer are tapping into that emotion, and they're just poking at it constantly to sit there and say, well, we'll see, you should be afraid of the black and brown people. Look at, they're scary. They're coming for your jobs. In fact, they're probably in your bushes waiting for you to go to work so they can come into your house and steal your job somehow. It's like, what, you know, and it's like, when you're in that emotional state, which, you know, when I was like 9 years old, my sister convinced me that Space Mountain in, what was it, Disney World or Disneyland or whatever, was going to launch me off of the roller coaster. And I believed her, right? A flat out lie that scientifically is impossible. I believed her because I made a decision out of fear. You know, but if you don't, if you sit there and go, well, that sounds terrifying, I'm not sure if that's true or not. Maybe I'll go test it out for myself. But these guys like Milo and Richard Spencer don't want you to try it out yourself. They don't want you to go talk to people from another country or black people or anything, because once you find out that they're just people like you that want to go about their day, live their lives, take care of their family, you know, and at the end of the day, maybe watch an episode of NCIS or whatever. Great. What do I have to hate about that? Right? It's like, what do you have to hate about that?
Nothing at all, man.
Right.
Chris, my brother, man, you've been an excellent guest, man. This has been amazing. Man, brother, and I could talk to you all night, man, and I love to pick this conversation up with you in person, man. But tell everybody where to go to find more about your work, to watch these videos, especially that video that got you so much hate.
That video is up on my Facebook and my YouTube. You can search for my name. It's KRISHMOHAN. My Facebook page is Comedian and Social Vigilante.
That's it.
My website is ramennoodlescomedy.com. That's RAMAN noodlescomedy.com. And I have a podcast that I do every week where it's basically this, where we talk about big ideas and bullshit about weird social esoteric stuff. And sometimes I pop on my girlfriend's radio show as well. That radio show is called Bat Broadcast. And that airs on the River's Edge Network from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Thursday. So those are all the things that I do.
Wow. I mean, look, I gotta admit, I'm kind of favoring the ramennoodles.com. I really like that shit.
ramennoodlescomedy.com. Yeah.
Ramen Noodles Comedy. I like that, man. Hey guys, if you're in Richmond or near Richmond, come out and check out Chris Mohan, Lee Camp, and I, as we try to rip up the stage. December 2nd, like, go to, leecamp.net, and you got to, and go to
.com. I think he got the .com.
He got the .com, motherfucker. And look, man, go find Chris, man. Go find Chris Mohan, comedy and social commentary, and what's that?
Social vigilante.
Social vigilante. God damn, I love it. I love violence. I love it, man. Hey, look, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow for Freedom Friday. Hey, Chris, on Fridays, people call up from around the country, man, and I let them talk for 5 minutes. We put it on the podcast. We put out the videos, and I let anybody call up, man. So that's what we're doing tomorrow here, man. So look, everybody, stay safe. Don't let nobody take your cornbread. Look, man. I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe. Don't fall for no bananas in your tailpipe. All right, now. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Thanks so much.
Man, thank you, brother. Great show.
That was great.
Tim Black.
And we
Tim Black.
are out of here, brother. Great time. You got it, man.
True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow night when we do it all over again. Later.